Boy.
It's actually a Q&A with Quindon and Everest.
What do you think, Everest?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a Q&A with my husband Quindon. Thank you to those of you who asked us questions on social media when I asked you guys for questions. Everest is apparently going to be in this video just like he always wants to be right where we are. Hey? Okay, so we have lots of questions, so we'll get started. The first one is Quindon still in the army?
Yes, I'm still in the army for at least another 4 years.
I feel like we just like don't talk about it a lot, especially lately. There hasn't really been a lot going on. He leaves on Monday for some training, but he's been home for a while, so that's been good. How did you meet / start dating? How did we meet?
I think we met like at youth group / going on a missions trip to New Jersey.
Yeah, so we like, did you know who I was before we met?
Not really, no.
I knew who he was before we met, like I had heard of him. We like kind of met through a mutual friend. We met when we were 16. No, we met when we were 15. And then we went on this missions trip together to New Jersey with his youth group. And then we didn't start dating until the next summer. And we had both just turned 16 when we started dating. No, we had both just turned 17 when we started dating. What was the biggest obstacle you've overcome together? What would you say?
I think the biggest obstacle come so far is deployment. Like my first deployment was like kind of an eye-opening thing to get through and learn from. So I think that was our biggest obstacle.
I would say, yeah, like even just long distance in general. Like we've been together 8.5 years and we've spent more of it apart than we have together still. Basically just the fact that we've spent so much time apart has been really, really hard. I would even say his deployment was hard, but I think also like when he came back from deployment and like reintegrating, that was also challenging. It's hard to do long distance, but then it's also hard when you kind of almost get used to long distance, and then when you come back together, you have to like readjust again. So yeah. How did you deal with having limited time to see each other in college?
When you were in university, how we dealt with it is like every time we saw each other, it was like maximum everything. We want to go do something, like we went and did it, and then like.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was gonna say. Like we really
used your time.
Really
like,
made the most of it every time we saw each other.
Exactly. Like essentially, it was like mini vacations every time we saw each other.
Basically, I was in university and he was working he was in the army, so then he would come visit me on his breaks. I only ever visited him like once, like I just didn't have the time off and I didn't have the money or anything. But when he did visit me, I guess one like tangible thing is that I was really good about trying to make sure that I really tried to make sure that I had my homework done, and I didn't have like a ton of things to do while he was there, so that I could focus on like spending time together. Everest, can you not have my shirt? I think I tried to do that pretty good, right? Like he definitely sat and like watched me write essays and like came to some classes and stuff with me, but for the most part I kind of tried to like schedule that, plan accordingly.
So technically I did go to university, sat in a couple classes.
We actually wrote a lot of letters to each other.
Yeah.
A lot. And we talked on the phone and Skype like pretty much every day. Neither of us are the type of people to like text all day long or like want to be on the phone all the time. So there would be times where we wouldn't Skype every day because we like wouldn't really feel like it. And I think it was actually better when we got into a routine of like always Skyping at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then you could kind of like plan around it instead of just being like, hey, can you Skype right now? And the other person's like, no, I'm busy. So like I guess what's the hardest thing about long distance? I think just the fact that you're living two separate lives.
Yeah.
Like you don't really know each other's friends. You don't really know what like their work or their life is like. And then even when he visited and then it was like mini vacation, that's like almost hard too because it's not like real life.
Or even like when you live long distance for so long and then all of a sudden like when the long distance ends, you now have like these two circles of friends that you now have to like try to like combine, which can be challenging.
Yeah, I think long distance is like kind of like a no-brainer, like that it's just hard because you're not together. Also, I feel like people are always like, at least now you have Skype and whatever, but What they don't realize is that that can be so frustrating because technology actually like fails. So often he's in places that have poor cell reception. Like his whole deployment was like pretty bad cell reception. So you spend like an hour on Skype just being like, why? I can't hear you. And then you just end up like really upset and like
frustrated.
Yeah, by the end of it, you're actually like more upset than you were at the beginning. Did you have to deal with people discouraging your relationship because you were young? How did you stand up to them? Did you?
Absolutely. Like, in like army mentality, people just tell you like that you're too young to get married. Like, don't get married young. Even like when we got married, people were like, "Oh, how old are you? Like, what? Like, that's insane."
We were 22 when we got married.
Yeah.
Which sounds really young now, but at the time, I definitely think we were ready.
How we stood up to them, or like how I stood up to them, like I just prove them wrong. They're like, "Oh, like everyone in the army gets divorced." Like, no, I'll prove you wrong. Or your relationship will never be or will never last. Well, it's long distance. Prove them wrong, and like.
That's my favorite thing is when people are like, long distance relationships never work, and I'm like, this question is super interesting because I never had anyone discourage me. My high school, my college, my family, it's very much the norm to marry your high school sweetheart or like someone that you started dating early. Like my parents were high school sweethearts. So many of like my aunts and uncles and my cousins and my friends, like so many people married like their high school sweetheart or someone they started dating when they were like 18, 19. What we were doing was totally normal to me. Mm-hmm. And it almost would have been weirder if it wasn't like that, I guess. I never had any negative anything like from my side, which is really interesting.
Yeah, most of the negativity that I had came from my work. Like, and my friends and my family were all on board with it, but
I also think a good way to kind of look at that is like if people are being negative, are those people that you look up to? Because I think there's definitely something to be said if you have friends that you really look up to or your parents or like a mentor or something in your life and they're not saying negative things but maybe just challenging you. Like I think it's really important to look at who that's coming from. And in his situation, if it was like coming from our single army guys who don't have a serious relationship, like you take their opinion differently than you take like my parents who started dating when they were 16 and have been married 30 years, right? Yeah. Like you have to like weigh those differently. We didn't have any negative things from like our families or anything. How did you go from friends to more than friends?
Good looks and charming phrases.
From me. I think it was just super natural. I don't know if things were just different like 9 years ago, but we were just friends and I honestly don't know. Like, we were friends and we started dating August 23rd, so the very end of the summer. And we basically spent that whole summer, like, hanging out as friends, like, with our group of friends, hanging out a ton. Yeah. And it was honestly just so natural. Like, we just kind of started liking each other. I don't even really remember, like, liking you before we started dating for... It's not like I don't know. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And then he just kind of like asked me out one day and then we were like officially dating. Like I don't know if things were different then or I don't know, but it wasn't like this complicated thing. How did you know you were the ones for each other? Did it happen at the same time or not? How did you know?
It just in like natural succession like of like how we were dating and like watching everything progress, like yeah, this person I like in your like soul you're like yeah, this person is the one for me. Like
yeah, I think it was very natural. Like we started dating when we were 17. Even at that point we were both very mature about dating and I for sure like very much believed in dating to get married. Even as a 17-year-old, like I wouldn't have stayed with someone who I couldn't see myself with long term. Yeah, I think in my mind like I would have just dated someone until something came up that was like a red flag or that was like, no, I don't want to spend time with this person or don't want to spend forever with this person. But I guess nothing came up.
Well, did it happen at the same time or not?
I think it happened earlier for me.
Yeah, for sure. Many Skype calls getting yelled at why I didn't want to propose to her.
But that wasn't because you didn't Yes, we did argue a lot about when we wanted to get married. I definitely wanted to get married earlier, and I think that comes back to like that was just super normal in the circles I was in. I think because long distance was so hard and we didn't want to live together before we got married, we were basically going to be long distance until we got married, and we were frustrated with long distance, and that was definitely like something that was hard. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we were arguing because you didn't know that you wanted to marry me. It was just that you wanted some more time.
Yeah, exactly.
He bought me a promise ring for my 18th, not my 18th birthday, but our 1-year anniversary. So it was right after I turned 18, and it was right before he was going into the army. He bought me a promise ring, so I feel like that was like a big step. Mm-hmm. And I think also like everyone in our life that this is going back to like having people that you like look up to, but like our parents and stuff like approved of each other, and like our friends did, and people that we looked up to like definitely thought that it was a good fit also. So what's your favorite home project you've done?
Like what we've done to the house, or like what we've like done like I don't know.
How are those different?
It's like I'm pretty proud of like the bench I built and like the headboard.
I would say it's like a house thing. It could be anything. Like if you're proud of your carpentry skills.
How my carpentry skills have developed.
What if you had to pick something that's like more like a permanent thing in the house?
Definitely gonna be the toss-up between the beam and the door.
That's a really hard question because I think that everything that we've done like really goes together.
Mm-hmm. With a closet.
But they're all so good.
All things that I'm not skilled at, but did.
He's learned a lot in like how many months? I don't know, like 7, 8 months. Or something.
When your name means carpenter and you have to be good at it.
Yeah, Stender actually means carpenter. I feel like the thing that made the biggest difference in this house was painting it, but that's like not really an exciting like home improvement project. I just like am obsessed with our white walls. Like still to this day, I just look around and I'm like, I just am so happy that our walls are so bright and white and like, I was gonna say clean, but they have like handprints all over them. I really love like the brick wall that's behind us that we just did recently. That's definitely like one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. But then I also really love the beam. I don't know, I really love everything.
So to answer, what is your favorite home project?
I would pick the wall.
I would pick tearing the wall down and putting the beam up. What is the next place you'd like to travel? Okay, the next place I'd like to travel to would be like Asia.
Yeah, we really want to do like Thailand, and
I have a lot of friends who like tell me all about like Vietnam and like those areas, like and how like really nice they are, cheap, and you get to see a lot of really cool old things. So.
And then another place that I really love to travel is New Zealand and Australia. Mm-hmm. That's such an expensive trip. It won't happen soon, but we would love to do that. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll just move there. Mm-hmm. And then tips for puppy training.
Lots of boops and lots of pets.
So this is our first dog. Like my parents have a dog, but I wasn't really involved in like training him ever. You were never involved in like training a dog. I pretty much watched like 8 million YouTube videos. There are some really good there's some really good trainers on YouTube. Zach something is really good. I watched a ton of YouTube and just kind of like tried a lot of things. I think just like time and patience is really important.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, we did all positive reinforcement. Like it's just recently that we're even like doing any like discipline. Like we'll do like timeouts kind of if he like barks and continues barking when we've asked him to stop. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like we don't do any like negative punishment. Like we don't like yell at him or
especially
like that.
If you're a dog owner and you're yelling at your puppy because he like peed on the floor.
So somehow a clip disappeared in here, but I think this is worth saying. My biggest tip with dogs is to remember that they do not speak English, especially when they're little puppies. They don't know what you're saying. So you have to keep your commands so simple, use the same word all the time. So always use the word down. Don't try down and sit and off. Be really consistent with one word and just kind of think of it as if someone was giving you instructions in Russian and then yelling at you because you didn't understand them. Your dog doesn't speak English, so you just need to be super patient with them. And you need to teach them by using a ton of positive reinforcement what certain words and certain commands mean.
Okay, so that was all of the questions for today. Thank you guys so much for watching that. Let me know if you'd like us to do more Q&A style videos in the future. So yeah, if you haven't already done so, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching.